The Grammys. Something that every musician, including myself, aspires to, dreams about, and works so hard their entire life in hopes that one day you will get to the point where the Academy of American Music will acknowledge you and say that you've done a good job throughout the year. Now, the Grammys have come under scrutiny recently for actually the past 2 years. And I thought I wouldn't touch on this because it's music and, you know, there are white and black people and Latino people and everyone's in music. So it doesn't really pertain and fall in the umbrella of racism. But on second thought, I think it really does. Because for the second year in a row, we have, and actually not just the second year in a row, but for many years in a row, but 2 years that the Grammys have been under a microscope, we have yet another black artist snubbed from the Grammys. This time it is the artist known as The Weeknd. Side note, I do enjoy your music, Weeknd. Got a great voice. I finally came to grips with the fact that because you sing falsetto, you're not trying to sound like Michael Jackson. Although, I would appreciate that if you do one verse, that you write a second separate verse and not repeat the same verse twice, because that's the first verse being repeated, not two verses. But anyway, you do a great job. Album was killer. I agree. You should have had a nomination. So back to the point. The Weeknd was snubbed this year from the Grammys from being nominated at all. Not Song of the Year, not Album of the Year, nothing. No nominations whatsoever. And the reason for this is why. There is no reason. The Academy really has no reason. Their statement is, oh, well, you know, we're sorry you feel this way, but at the end of the day, yeah, even though you felt you should have been nominated, we're not going to nominate you. And this comes on the heels of last year's Grammys, where Sean Puffy Combs, who I have no love for, stood up in pre-Grammy ceremonies and wanted to go ahead and give this exuberant speech about inclusivity and that the time has come now for the Academy to recognize black people and their achievements in the arts and in the field of music. Well, Puffy, they didn't fucking listen, and they didn't hear you, because here we are, 2020, and The Weeknd has been snubbed. So this brings me to what I'm going to lead into, which is racism within the music industry and community. And this rant may go on a little bit longer than 5 minutes, so please bear with me. The issue that the Grammys has is the fact that throughout history, white people don't like the fact that black people just happen to be better at certain things than they are. And I know. You're going to say, well, you know, that's not fair. White people are talented and contribute to the arts as well. And you're not wrong. There are plenty of talented white people out there. Plenty. And kudos to them. However, when the narrative is consistently and repeatedly shaped that white males and a few select white females are the voice and the face of talent, that is where the problem lies. Because in music, the fact of the matter is that all genre of music was created by black and brown people. Point blank period. From pop, classical, rock, R&B, urban, country, everything. We have had a hand at the beginning and the onset of these particular genres. Just because white people have taken them on, and again, painted a narrative that they are the ones and the originators, does not make it true. So you got to look at this. This has been a systemically racist system that has been put in place under the guise of, oh no, we accept everybody. Clearly they don't. It's the same reason why black people in the acting realm only win awards and Oscars when they play dirty cops, prostitutes, pimps, drug dealers, or the famous one, slaves. White people love when black people play slaves, and then they have the audacity to say, oh, they play that part with such conviction and such vigor and such emotion. Well, no shit. That's easy. That's not the hard part. But look at the Academy when it comes to acting. That's exactly what happens. Black people are not nominated for playing doctors and lawyers and fighter pilots and anything else positive. It's always got to be a negative. And then white people are like, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll nominate you for that. It's a sad reality in the arts that unfortunately the arts, even something so generic and so broad and something that human beings can connect to, no matter what your race, your social status, your economic status, it doesn't matter. Art is supposed to be one of the things that we all can meet on the common ground and common playing field and be able to communicate with one another and appreciate one another's differences and talents. And even in that, white male systemic racism has found a way to make it all about them. And you're like, well, no, that's not a fair statement because there are plenty of black people nominated every year for Grammys and for American Music Awards. Yeah, well, let's look at the nominations, though. They're not for Best Jazz Album, and if they are, they're not televised. So that's a whole nother issue. But they're not for Best Jazz Album or Best Pop Album. No. It's Best Rap Album, Best R&B Album. You know, the typically black genres that we black people are only supposed to like. No matter how many billions of black people there are, we're only supposed to like certain genres of music. And that's a whole nother rant I can get into, being someone who enjoys rock music and metal music very much. But I also appreciate the urban and the trap and the R&B. I appreciate it all. But stereotypically, I'm not supposed to. But let's go back to my point. So any artist that is nominated in a genre that is not typically black doesn't get televised. So we go ahead and we have the trap artists up there. And look, shout out to rappers, shout out to trap artists, shout out to R&B artists. Listen, nothing but love for you guys. But the Academy is using you. And any artists, especially in 2020, a lot of artists are coming out and making it very clear what goes on behind the scenes. So they'll nominate you with the Grammy, but you have to commit to go ahead and perform at their show to bring in ratings so they can go ahead and charge more money to advertisers. Which is why a lot of artists say, you know what, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to perform. I'm not going to do this. Go ahead and take the nomination if you wish. But now in 2020, we have a lot of white artists coming out saying and supporting The Weeknd in this. And then you look at, let's just take Justin Bieber, for example. Justin Bieber came out during these Grammy nominations this year and made it a point to let everyone know that he felt that his album should have been nominated in the R&B category and not the pop category. And you know what? I give Justin Bieber a lot of props for that. Because this white boy realizes and understands his lane. And he understands that his lane was not created by white people. He is going ahead and, for the lack of a better word, mimicking a black art. And he knows it. And he's well aware of it. And you know what? He's man enough to say, you know what, guys? You nominated me in the wrong category. I'm not doing pop music. I'm not a pop artist. I was discovered by an R&B singer. I was fostered by the black community and by the urban community. My record, from the production, from the samples, to who I chose to work and collaborate with, were all based on producing an R&B record. And he said in his statement, even though I appreciate the nomination, that's not the right category, guys. Get it right. And he deserves a lot of credit for that. Because a lot of white artists throughout time have not done that. They've taken the credit and moved along. So the Grammys is full of shit. And fuck Puffy. His speech was only for his own aggrandizement, for a little promo for him. He's still got rappers in ridiculous contracts. Mace still can't get his publishing after 25 fucking years. So you know what? The Grammys clearly doesn't care. And I agree with Drake's statement online. You know what? Maybe there needs to be a new entity that emerges out of this, where artists can feel comfortable to be nominated and to know they're going to be nominated properly and be respected for their talent, be put in the right genre, in the right category. And you know what? There's no such thing as obscure art. If it's good, it gets nominated. If it's trash, it shouldn't. And when you have a committee and a board full of old white men, and maybe sprinkled in with a few old white women, and maybe the token black here and there, who still don't get the point that in 2020, black people not only are responsible for every genre, but do every genre of music. And if you're going to go ahead and not nominate an artist for whatever dumb reason, even though they had a hit record and a hit single, that's the whole point of the Grammys. You have a hit record, you have a popular record on the radio, you get nominated. That's how it's supposed to be. At least this is the way that we thought it was. But like with anything else in life, politics gets in the way, racism gets in the way, agenda gets in the way. And when you're too busy trying to promote a narrative about black culture and black music and not really looking at the substance of the art, this is what happens. And it's not going to be the last time that it happens. So I encourage all artists that are out there that are in that position to be nominated for Grammys to just start boycotting it. Even if you get nominated, tell them to fuck you. Because it's not worth it. The Grammys have lost their credibility, they've lost their respect, and they're an old boys club that needs to come down. That's my rant. Thanks for listening. Take care.